Borrowed light, borrowed time, living on the edge of the divine. I don't own the sunrise, just lease the day, hoping I can pay my way. I wake before the sun most days, work the kind of job that don't pay praise, just pays the rent on a one-room walk-up, coffee from yesterday, a bitter cup. My neighbor's radio through the wall, preacher shouting about the fall of man of nations, of everything good. I drink my coffee, wish I could believe that simple, that black and white, but my world's all gray, all borrowed light. She left the Bible when she moved out, under the bed, full of doubt, and bookmarks, notes in the margin, questions she couldn't quite bargain. Away with faith, with hope, with me. Now is my Bible, my mystery, my borrowed light in the borrowed dark, my question mark. And I read by the street lamp through the blind, read to see, read to find. Borrowed light, borrowed time, living on the edge of the divine. I don't own the sunrise, just lease the day, hoping I can pay my way. The factory took my father's hand, took his lungs, took his stand, against the silence that work requires, against the dreams that work retires. I have his hands, I have his cough, I have his way of brushing off the questions about happiness, about more, about what this living is really for. But I have his stubborn too, his refusal to fall, his way of standing straight when the stand is tall. And I have his whistle, tuneless and true, that he taught me, that I teach too. The empty room, the empty hall, the borrowed light that touches all. And I read by the street lamp through the blind, read to see, read to find. Borrowed light, borrowed time, living on the edge of the divine. I don't own the sunrise, just lease the day, hoping I can pay my way. Met a man at the bus stop once, playing chess with himself, playing dunce, to the world but sharp as a tack, when he talked about the way back, to something he lost, something he found, something that kept him above the ground. Son, he said, we're all just borrowing the light, the dark, the sorrowing, and the joy. The trick is to say thanks, to walk the line, to feel the ranks of the grateful, the glad, the ones who know they're just passing through, just the flow of something bigger, something vast. The light's not yours, but it's yours to cast. So I cast it, this borrowed light, into the dark, into the night of my own making, of my own fear, hoping someone else might hear and borrow from me and pass it on, till the chain is strong, till the dark is gone, or at least bearable, at least shed, at least a burden, half the burden paid. Borrowed light, borrowed time, living on the edge of the divine. I don't own the sunrise, just lease the day, hoping I can pay my way. The sun's up now, the bar will become real. The light on the table, the light I can feel. On my face through the window, through the glass, the light that says this too shall pass. This darkness, this doubt, this heavy weight, but not the gratitude, not the state of being awake, being here, being alive, on the edge of the divine, on the edge of the dive into whatever comes, whatever must. Trust in the light, trust in the trust, borrowed light now given away. Another day, another way to pay the debt, to pass the flame, to play the game without the game. Just the light, just the day, just the thanks I came to say. Sister Mercy, won't you pray for me? I'm caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Sister Mercy, with your hand so kind, pray for the trouble in my mind. She wasn't my sister by blood, by birth, but by the sharing of the same cold earth, the same long nights, the same short days, the same old struggle, the same old ways. She ran the kitchen at the mission downtown, fed the hungry, never let them down, but fed their souls as much as their guts, with a word, with a look, with if and but. That meant I see you, I know your name, I know the face behind the shame. I came for the coffee, stayed for the word, the only kind voice I'd ever heard in those hard months after I lost it all, after the pride, after the fall. She didn't preach, didn't quote the book, just cook, just listen, just let me look into her eyes and see myself. Not the drunk and not the waste and not the shelf of broken things, but the man I could be if I could just get free. And freedom, she said, is a long road home, but you don't walk it alone. Don't walk it alone. Sister Mercy, won't you pray for me? I'm caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Sister Mercy, with your hand so kind, pray for the trouble in my mind. She had her own scars, her own dark night, a husband who left, a child who died, a faith that wavered but never quite fell, a story she didn't often tell, but when she did, late nights after close, with the chairs up on the tables, I suppose that's when I learned that mercy goes both ways, that the giver receives, that the payer pays, with something more than thanks, more than words, with the living of life, with the flight of birds. She loved so much the sparrows she fed, her own kind of prayer, her own kind of bread. I got clean, got to work, got a place But I still go back to that sacred space where the kitchen steams and the coffee's hot, where Sister Mercy gives what she's got to the next one, the lost one, the me before me, the one who can't yet see. And freedom, she said, is a long road home, but you don't walk it alone. Don't walk it alone. Sister Mercy, won't you pray for me? I'm caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Sister Mercy, with your hands so kind, pray for the trouble in my mind. Kitchen closed, the mission moved, the building sold. I visit her in the nursing home. Bring her flowers, don't come alone. I bring my wife, I bring my child. We sit and talk, we sit and smile about the old days, about the grace of finding mercy in a merciless place. She doesn't remember my name some days, looks at me through a foggy haze. But sometimes the clouds clear and she sees me and I see her. And we're back in that kitchen, that holy ground where the lost are found, where love is found. And she'll say, you're looking well, my friend. And I know the mercy will never end. Just change his form, just change his face, but stay present, stay in place, in the memory, in the deed, in the planting of the seed that grows when we're gone, that grows when we die. The mercy that never says goodbye. So I became Sister Mercy in my way, for someone else some other day. The chain unbroken, the circle wide, the mercy living though the givers died. I pray for her now like she prayed for me, in the kitchen by the sea, in the heart where the holy resides, where the soul confesses, where the soul confides. Sister Mercy, won't you pray for me? I'm caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Sister Mercy, with your hands so kind, pray for the trouble in my mind. Sister Mercy, sleeping now, I wonder if she knows somehow that the prayer she prayed took root, took hold, that the story she lived is the story told around other tables, in other rooms, dispelling the shadows, dispelling the gloom. She gave me borrowed light, gave me grace, and I found my way to a better place. Sister Mercy, rest your hands, the work continues, the mercy stands. I'll pray for you like you pray for me, until the last wave, until the last sea, until we're both where the merciful go, where the love we gave is the love we know. Hark my guitar, hark my ring, hark every damn thing. Keep my soul, it's the only thing left, the only thing the devil hasn't theft. I've been down to Murphy's 3 times this week. Born in my past, too broke to speak the language of the living, the tongue of the well. Mr. Murphy knows my story, knows the smell of desperation, the whiskey of shame. He don't judge, just writes my name. In the book gives me the ticket, tells me come back when you can, don't quit it. Things turn around, they always do. I've seen worse than you come through. I got my daddy's watching there now, the one he wore to work, the one that told how much time he had left, how much time he gave, not telling time in a pawn shop cave. I got my mother's ring, the thin gold band that survived her hand, that survived the land of dust and drought and moving on. Now sitting in a drawer till dawn, or till I can buy it back if I can. If the luck turns, if the plan I don't have yet comes into view, if the God I doubt comes through. Every ticket's a prayer, every pledge a hope, every item a way to cope. Hock my guitar, hock my ring, hock every damn thing. Keep my soul, it's the only thing left, the only thing the devil hasn't theft. I hocked my tools last month, my trade, the only way I ever got paid. For honest work, for honest sweat, now I'm in debt, deeper in debt. To the kind of men who don't use banks, who don't give thanks, who walk the planks. They set for fools like me who need the quick fix, the desperate deed. But Mr. Murphy, he's different, he's kind. He gives me time, he doesn't mind the stories, the tears, the promises made. He's seen the parade, he's seen the fade of hope, of pride, of dignity. He's still here, still running the shop, still telling me don't stop, don't give up, don't give in. Redemption starts where the sin ends, where the hocking begins, where the soul admits it needs, it wins. Every ticket's a prayer, every pledge a hope, every item a way to cope. Hock my guitar, hock my ring, hock every damn thing. Keep my soul, it's the only thing left, the only thing the devil hasn't theft. Not the pawn, but to look, to see the dawn of something different, something new. I had a little money, a little hope too. I bought back the watch, bought back the ring. Didn't have enough for everything, but enough to start, enough to say I'm on my way, I'm on my way. Mr. Murphy smiled, that rare smile, said I knew you'd walk the mile. The ones who come back for what they lost, who count the cost, who bear the cross of their own making, who don't lay blame. They're the ones who change the game. I strapped on the watch, put on the ring, felt like a king, or nothing much, but something mine, something that survived the time. In the dark, in the drawer, in the weight, something that learned to bear the weight. The pawn shop's a church in its way, a place where we confess what we can't pay, where we lay down our burdens, our shiny things, and hope for the grace tomorrow brings. Mr. Murphy's the priest, the confessor, the friend, who sees the beginning, who sees the end, who knows the cycle, the fall, the rise, who looks you in the eyes and sees the soul beneath the shame and calls you by your given name. Hark my guitar, hark my ring, hark every damn thing, where we lay down our burdens, our shiny things, and hope for the grace tomorrow brings. Mr. Murphy's the priest, the confessor, the friend, who sees the beginning, who sees the end, who knows the cycle, the fall, the rise, who looks you in the eyes and sees the soul beneath the shame and calls you by your given name. Hark my guitar, hark my ring, hark every damn thing. But I got the watch, got the ring, got back a little of everything that made me, that made me mine, that made me walk the straight line, or try to, or want to, or pray to a plan. I'm a pawn shop man, but I understand now what it means to lose, to find, to leave things behind, to keep in mind that the soul's not for pawn and not for sale. It's the holy grail, it's the holy grail. Hide the rest, keep the soul. That's the pawn shop song, that's the goal. Mr. Murphy knows, I know too. Redemption starts with me and you, and a watch that ticks and a ring that shines and the guitar waiting. And these lines I'm singing, I'm praying, I'm trying to believe in the morning, in the eve, in the pawn shop, in the street, in the finding, in the defeat, in the rising, in the fall, in the song of it all. Burning midnight oil, 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 burning midnight oil. Burning midnight oil, burning midnight oil, reading by the flame, searching for the answer, searching for the name of the peace that passes, of the understanding. Burning midnight oil, too demanding. I study the prophets in the late night hours, when the world's asleep and the quiet powers of the mind take over, take the wheel, trying to know, trying to feel what they felt, those ancient men who spoke to God, who spoke to the wind, who heard the voice in the burning bush, in the silent rush of the holy hush. I ain't no prophet, ain't no saint, just a man with questions without the paint of certainty, of knowing sure, of the kind of faith that can endure. Without the proof, without the sign, just a burning, just a line between the dark and the little light, between the day and the endless night. A wondering, a wondering, a wanting to know, a wanting the faith that makes the spirit grow. But the oil burns low, the eyes grow dim, the questions stay, the answers slim. Burning midnight oil, reading by the flame, searching for the answer, searching for the name of the peace that passes, understanding. Burning midnight oil, too demanding. My father burned the same oil, I know, though he never said, never let it show. He'd be up when I got up for school, sitting there looking like a fool. To my young eyes, my young scorn, but now I know he was forlorn. Searching like I'm searching, wanting like I want, needing the something, needing the font. A wisdom, a piece of the holy, yes, that makes sense of the no, that cleans the mess of living or dying, of all between. Of the things we've done, the things we've seen. He found it, I think, in the morning light, after the oil, after the night. Found it in the work, in the sweat, in the things he did, not the things he get. From books, from study, from the burning alone. Found it in love, in flesh and bone, in my mother and us, in the daily grind, in the peace he finally learned to find. But the oil burns low, the eyes grow dim, the questions stay, the answer slim. Burning midnight oil, reading by the flame, searching for the answer, searching for the name of the peace that passes, of the understanding. Burning midnight oil, too demanding. That the midnight oil will get you burned, if that's all there is, if the book's the end. If you don't have love, if you don't have friend, if you don't have work to test the word, to make the holy voice be heard. In the doing, not the reading alone, in the flesh, not just the bone. Of the text, of the page, of the ancient ink, I'm starting to think that the morning grace is the real reward. Not the knowledge, not the hoard of answers, but the simple yes to the day, to the test, to the love that waits, to the work that calls, to the grace that comes after the fall. Of the night, of the doubt, of the endless why, I'm learning slowly to let it lie. The question, the search, the burning need, and plant a different kind of seed. The morning grace is the oil renewed, the flame that shows the night's conclusion, the light that says you've done what you could. Now walk in peace, now walk in gratitude. The prophets can wait, the books can close. The garden of the soul needs hoes and hands and dirt and sweat and sun. Not just the midnight, not just the one who burns alone, who reads alone, who thinks the text is the only stone to build a house of peace upon. The morning grace says you're not done, but you're enough for this new day. Put down the book, go out, play the music of the living, not the dead. Let the morning grace raise its head. Burning midnight oil, reading by the flame, searching for the answer, searching for the name of the peace that passes, of the understanding. Burning midnight oil, too demanding. I close the book, I blow out the flame. I don't feel foolish, I don't feel shame. search for the long night. It brought me here to this morning light. But I won't forget what the morning said. Won't let the burn steal the bread. In the waiting room, time stands still, praying for the cure, praying for the will to face whatever comes through that door. The news, the no, the nevermore. The magazines are old, the coffee's cold, the stories told in the room are bold. 'Cause fear makes strangers into friends, into family that never ends. Because it won't begin, because we'll leave and never see again. Never grieve together, though we grieve the same, though we play the waiting game. With different names on our lips, different faces in our minds, different worries, different kinds of illness, of trouble, of the unknown. Sitting together, alone. I'm waiting for word on my mother upstairs, fighting the fight, throwing the prayers at the ceiling, at the sky, at the God I can't see. Hoping he's listening, hoping he'll be merciful, kind, healing, good. Hoping for the outcome that he could provide if he wanted, if he chose, if he's there, if he knows that she's the best of us, the strong, that he's had her waiting too long. And the clock keeps ticking, the time keeps moving. The waiting room is disapproving of our impatience, our fear, our doubt, while the world goes on, while the sun goes out in the waiting room. Time stands still, praying for the cure, praying for the will to face whatever comes through that door. The news, the no, the nevermore. I met a man there Tuesday last, told me about his daughter, the past. 2 years of treatments, of hope, of despair, the money gone, of the prayer that never seemed to get through to be heard, that flew like a wounded, wayward bird into the sky and fell back down into the silence, into the ground of his heart, his faith, his will to believe. But he stayed, he waited, he couldn't leave her alone, couldn't give up the ghost, though he feared the most. Though the doctor spoke in the tongues of the dead, though the words they said were prepared, were soon were the end, he stayed, my friend, my stranger friend, in the waiting room, where the flowers bloom in plastic vases, where the light is gray, where we wait for the news, for the day to break, or to fall, to rise, or to set, where we learn to wait, where we learn to let go or control of knowing, of sure, where the only cure is the waiting itself, the being there, the showing up, the breathing air, the same room, the same fear, the same hope, learning somehow to cope. And the clock keeps ticking, the time keeps moving, the waiting room is disapproving of our impatience, our fear, our doubt, while the world goes on, while the sun goes out in the waiting room. Time stands still, praying for the cure, praying for the will to face whatever comes through that door. The news, the no, the nevermore. They called my name, I stood up slow, didn't want to know, had to know. The doctor's face was hard to read, the words I didn't want to heed, or the words I hoped for I couldn't tell. In that moment, in that hell of waiting in it, of knowing beginning, then she smiled, a light winning. Through the gray, through the fear, she's stable, she's resting, she's still here. And I cried, I wept, I broke right there in the hallway, in the fluorescent glare. Not caring who saw, not caring at all, just feeling the fall of the weight of the endless night. Just feeling the light. But I thought of my friend, the stranger man whose daughter didn't get the good plan, who got the other news, the hard word, the nevermore, the unheard prayer, the silence, the empty room after the leaving, after the gloom. And I prayed for him right there, right then, in the hallway, in the wind of my relief, of my grateful tears. I prayed for his years of waiting to end, for his peace to come, for the beating of the waiting room drum to stop, to rest, to let him go into the grief, into the flow of living without him, moving on, to find in the morning after the dawn of the bad news, the hard news, the end. The waiting room is a church, I think, where the prayers are silent, where the brink of life and death is the only text, where we're all perplexed, where the God we pray to is silent too, where the only thing to do is wait, is be, is breathe, is stay, is learn the lessons of the gray, between the black and white, the yes and no, the stay and go. It's holy ground, this waiting place, this room of fear, the space of grace. In the waiting room, time stands still, praying for the cure, praying for the will to face whatever comes through that door. The news, the no, the nevermore. I left the waiting room, went home, didn't forget the man, the tone of his voice, the voice. Hard ground, holy ground, digging where the grace is found. Blisters on my hands, sweat on my brow. Sacred is the seed and the plow. My granddaddy farmed the same dirt, broke his back, broke his heart, broke the hurt of the depression of the war, of the wanting more than the land could give, than the sky could rain. But he stayed, he worked through the pain of the dry years, the lost years, the dust, 'cause work was the only thing he trusted, the only prayer he knew how to say, the only way to talk to God, to hear him back, in the creak of the plow, in the crack of the seed, in the green of the shoot, in the fruit, in the root. I left the land, thought I was smart, thought the city, the job, the part I was playing was the better way. But I came back, I came to stay, because the hard ground called me home, because you can't really roam away from where your soul took root, from the dusty, dirty absolute truth of the soil, of the work, of the pain, of the loss, of the gain that comes from staying, from the plowing through, from the making do. And the blisters bleed and the back aches, something in the hard work makes the spirit strong, the vision clear, the holy present, the sacred here. Hard ground, holy ground, digging where the grace is found. Blisters on my hands, sweat on my brow. Sacred is the seed and the plow. I buried my father in this ground, 6 feet down, 6 feet of sound. Earth covering the man who taught me how to be, how to see. The divine in the dirt, in the sweat, in the work that never lets you forget that you're alive, that you're part of the land, of the heart of the world, of the turning of the year. He's here in every furrow, every row, in the seeds I sow, in the harvest, in the hunger, in the feast, in the west, in the east. Wind it blows across this place that touches my face, like his hand, like his word, like the thing I heard him say. The ground don't lie, the ground don't cheat, the ground don't die. You get what you give, you reap what you sow. That's the only thing you need to know. And the blisters bleed and the back aches, but something in the hard work makes the spirit strong, the vision clear, the holy present, the sacred here. Hey, hard ground, holy ground, digging where the grace is found. Blisters on my hands, sweat on my brow. Sacred is the seed and the plow. I work the land with my son now, showing him how to hold the plow, to read the sky, to not ask why. The rain don't come, to just keep faith, to work and wait, to know that the hard ground yields to the stubborn, to the fields of the heart that won't give up, that drink the bitter, drink the cup of the dry spell, of the failed crop that bend but don't stop. He asks me sometimes, Dad, is God real? And I tell him what I feel. He's in the dirt, son, in the seed, in the work, in the need to get up early, to stay up late, to trust, to wait. He's not in the sky, not in the book, but in the way you look at the land, at the work, at the life you're given, at the strife and the peace, at the loss and the gain. He's in the pain and in the healing, in the breaking, in the mending. He's unending, but he's here, he's now, he's this ground, this heart, this holy, this sacred ground. The city folks don't understand. They think the work of hand, and back is something less than thought. That wisdom's only what is taught in books, in schools, in the mind alone. But I've known, I've seen the truth that the dirt reveals, that the breaking of the seals of the earth, of the seed is holy work, that the sweat and the ache and the jerk of the plow is a kind of prayer, that the farmer is the priest, the heir of something ancient, something true, that the ground speaks and I listen and I do what it says, what it needs, what it wants, and it gives me back. It grants the grace of food, of life, of breath, the grace that conquers death for one more season, one more year, the grace that's always here in the hard ground, the holy ground. secret is the seed in the plow. 10th Avenue prayer, rising with the steam from the gutter, from the dream that didn't come true, that never will. The prayer of the broken, the prayer of the still, heart that won't quit, that won't lay down in the neon desert, in the concrete town. I live in a room the size of a grave, above the bar, above the wave of noise that never stops, never sleeps. The city weeps, the city keeps its secrets, its sinners, its saints in the dark. Its lonely park, its lonesome lark, a hope that sings at 4 a.m. when the city's at rest, when the gem of the morning is still uncut. When I'm in my rut, my prayer, my talk with the ceiling, with the feeling that someone might be listening, might be there in the steam, in the air of 10th Avenue, of the urban night, of the fluorescent light that flickers, that buzzes, that never dies, like the prayer, like the tries that keep coming, keep failing, keep coming again. And the city don't care, the city don't know, but I keep praying, I keep the flow of words of hope, of the desperate need. The 10th Avenue Creed. 10th Avenue prayer, rising with the steam from the gutter, from the dream that didn't come true, that never will. The prayer of the broken, the prayer of the still, heart that won't quit, that won't lay down in the neon desert, in the concrete town. I knew a woman, she lived next door, worked the diner, worked the floor of the all-night joint where the lost ones eat, where the broken meet. Over coffee, over pie, over the question why. She had a son, he went wrong. She prayed for him, her whole song was bring him back, bring him home. Don't let him roam into the dark, into the night, into the nevermore, out of sight. He never came back, he's in the wind, but she don't end. The prayer, she keeps it going, keeps it strong in the diner all night long, serving the coffee, serving the grace to every lonely face that comes in, that sits down, that needs the prayer that the heart bleeds in silence, in the steam of the cup, in the here you go, drink it up, in the touch of the hand, in the look in the eye, in the unspoken why. And the city don't care, the city don't know, but I keep praying, I keep the flow of words of hope, of the desperate need. The 10th Avenue Creed. 10th Avenue prayer, rising with the steam from the gutter, from the dream that didn't come true, that never will. The prayer of the broken, the prayer of the still, heart that won't quit, that won't lay down in the neon desert, in the concrete town. I found God, I think, in the laundromat. 2 a.m., just me and the cat that lives there in the spinning clothes, and the smell of soap, and the rows of machines, and the fluorescent hum, and the coming song of my life, of my choices, of my way. And I started to pray, not the prayer of the church, not the prayer of the book, but the prayer of the look at the ordinary, at the mundane, at the stain on the shirt that won't come clean, at the machine that keeps turning, keeps spinning, keeps going, like the prayer, like the knowing that something's working, even when you can't see, even when it's just you and me. God in the laundromat in the night, in the artificial light. The 10th Avenue prayer ain't pretty, ain't got no committee, ain't got no church, no steeple, no bell. It's the prayer of the unwell, of the barely making it, of the just getting by, of the God I don't know why, of the help me, of the please, of the down on the knees, in the alley, in the bar, in the room, in the gloom of the city that eats its young, where the songs are sung in silence, in the steam, in the night, in the fight to believe that someone hears, that someone cares, that the 10th Avenue prayer rises up, that it fills the cup of the divine, that it's not in vain, that there's something after the pain. 10th Avenue prayer, rising with the steam from the gutter, from the dream that didn't come true, that never will. The prayer of the broken, the prayer of the still, heart that won't quit, that won't lay down in the neon desert, in the concrete town. When the healing comes, will I be ready? Or will I hold on to the pain, to the steady ache that's been my only friend, that's kept me company to the end of health, of hope, of the life I knew. When the healing comes, what will I do? I've been sick so long I don't know well, don't know the story they tell about the healthy, about the whole, about the soul that isn't focused on the next pill, on the next test, on the next ill that might be coming, might be here. The constant fear that's become my normal, my baseline, my sign that I'm alive, that I'm still in the game, even if the game isn't the same as it was, as I want it to be, as I pray to see the doctors talking riddles and maybes, and let's wait and see in the babies. Steps of treatment of the slow way to go, the way of patience, of the long wait, of the it might be too late, that hangs in the air, that sits in the room, that spells doom or spells hope, depending on the day, on what they say, on the numbers, the counts, the scans, on the plans, the change, that shift that never hold, that leave me cold and hot and scared and brave, digging the grave or digging out, I never know which. switch between the two so quick, so fast, so vast. The distance between despair and hope, the slope. I slide down, I climb up, I fall, I call out to the God I'm not sure is there. The prayer that feels like talking to the wall, the call that never gets answered or gets answered in ways I can't read, can't fathom, can't praise. But I keep asking, keep the question, keep the suggestion that healing's possible, that the end isn't the end. When the healing comes, will I be ready? Or will I hold on to the pain, to the steady ache that's been my only friend, that's kept me company to the end of health, of hope, of the life I knew? When the healing comes, what will I do? I met a woman in the chemo chair, bald and beautiful, without a hair on her head, but glowing, but sure. The cure not coming, not for her, not in time, but her climb was upward, was spiritual, was grace, was the face of acceptance of the it's okay. I find a way to live in the time I have left, to be blessed by the moments, the small things, the love, the above and the below, the here and the now, the somehow of making peace with the leaving, with the grieving that others will do when I'm gone. The song I leave behind, the mark, the trace, the face, they remember the laugh, the touch, not much but enough. She said enough for a life, enough to survive the dying, enough to say I lived, I loved, I found a way. She died last spring, the spring of the rain, the spring of the pain, of watching her go, of knowing she's free, of being me. Still here, still waiting, still wondering when, still asking if, still asking then. But I keep asking, keep the question, keep the suggestion that healing's possible, that the end isn't the end. When the healing comes, will I be ready? Or will I hold on to the pain, to the steady ache that's been my only friend, that's kept me company to the end of health, of hope, of the life I knew? When the healing comes, what will I do? The test came back, the numbers good. The doctor smiled, I understood that the healing came, is here, is now. And I don't know how to be well, how to live without the give and take of illness, without the fight, the night of worry, the day of fear. The clear becomes cloudy, the well becomes strange. The change from patient to person, from sick to whole, the role I played so long, I don't know how to be now, how to walk without the limp, without the pimp of pain that sold me my identity, the entity I was, the sick man, the brave, the grave digger of my own hope, my own dream, the stream of consciousness that flowed through the will to survive, becoming the will to live, the give of health, of wholeness, of a new, the true me emerging, tentative, scared, unprepared for the healing, for the grace, for the face in the mirror that looks like health, like wealth, like something I don't recognize. The prize I I wanted, prayed for, didn't expect the effect of the healing, the cure, the save, the wave of gratitude, of fear of what now? The vow to live different, to live true, to do what the healed do, what the saved do, to be new. Healing isn't just the body I see, it's the soul, the spirit, the me, that I was, that I am, that I'll be, learning to be free. I'm the carpenter's son, I work with my hands, building what I can in these troubled lands. Measure twice, cut once, make it true. That's the gospel, that's what I do. My father built houses, built them strong, knew right from wrong, knew the level, knew the plumb, knew the kingdom come. In the framing, in the roof, in the proof of the work, of the skill, of the art that comes from the heart. As much as the hands, as much as the eye that sees the line, the straight, the true, the square, the prayer that is the building, the making, the doing, the pursuing of something that lasts, that stands, that stays, that pays, not just in money, but in the seeing of the being that the work creates, the space, the place where people live, where people face their lives, their loves, their deaths, their births, the earth beneath the floor, the sky above, the love that a well-built house can hold, the gold of the home, of the heart, of the heart. And the saw cuts clean, the nail drives true. The carpenter's son knows what to do. I'm the carpenter's son, I work with my hands, building what I can in these troubled lands. Measure twice, cut once, make it true. That's the gospel, that's what I do. I build the churches to the steeples high, the reaching to the sky, the houses of the holy, of the prayer, the where people come to find the peace, the release from the worry, from the sin, the begin again of the spirit, of the soul, the whole of the community, the gathering, the rathering together of the lost, the found, the sound of the organ, of the choir, the higher calling that the building serves, the curves and angles that I cut, that I place, the grace of the structure, of the form, the warm wood that welcomes, that holds, that heals, the feels of the sacred in the grain, the rain that tests the roof, the wind that tries, the ties that bind the frame, that keep it strong, the song of the building standing through the storm, the form of faith made visible, made real, the feel of the divine in the work of hands, the stands that I make, the tables, the chairs, the prayers that are the measuring, the cutting, the join, the coin of the realm, the currency of care, the share, of the gift, of the skill, of the trade, the made and the making, the endless art, the heart of the carpenter, the son, the man, the plan that I follow, that I don't always see. The tree that becomes the beam that becomes the house, the spouse of the wood and the work of the marriage of the true, the two becoming one, becoming whole, the soul of the work of the word made wood, the good that comes from the labor, from the love, the above and the below, meeting in the middle, the fiddle of the saw, the song of the hammer, the grammar of the building, the syntax of the sound, the ground and the sky joined by the wall, the call of the carpenter, ancient and new, the true. And the saw cuts clean, the nail drives true. The carpenter's son knows what to do. I'm the carpenter's son, I work with my hands, building what I can in these troubled lands. Measure twice, cut once, make it true. That's the gospel. That's what I do. I think of him sometimes, the other son, the one who also worked the wood, the nail, who knew the fail of the structure, of the frame, the shame of the breaking, of the falling down, the crown of thorns, the cross, the tree, the 3 days awaiting of the tomb, the womb of the earth, the rebirth, the rise, the surprise of the empty grave, the living again, the wind of the promise of the hope of the faith, the wraith of the spirit moving through the room, the loom of the divine weaving through the day, the way of the carpenter, the son, the Lord, the cord that binds the human to the holy of the becoming whole and near, the clear becoming cloudy, the simple becoming deep, the sleep becoming waking, the dead becoming alive, the strive becoming rest, the work becoming grace, the face of the Father in the face of the Son, the done becoming doing, the end becoming start, the heart of the matter of the heart, the art of Take me down to the river Jordan, wash me clean, make me new. Take me down to the river Jordan, I don't know what else to do. I've been to the river 100 times, committed the same old crimes, against the light, against the love, against the above, and the below, against myself. shelf of the soul where I keep the wrong, the song of the sinner that I know too well. The bell that tolls for me, that calls me down, the drown that I deserve, the death that waits, the gates of the water, the river, the flow, the know. And that I need to be washed, to be clean, to be seen by the God I doubt, by the grace I need, the seed of hope that the water might bring, the spring of the Jordan, the ancient stream. The dream of the prophets, of the wandering lost, the cost of the crossing, of the entering in, the sin washed away, the new beginning. Singing of the water, the voice of the deep, the sleep of the old man, the waking of the new, the true, emerging the lies, submerged, the purged, and the purging, the endless flow, the knowing and the not knowing, the faith and the fear, the clear becoming muddy, the muddy becoming clear, the here and the there, the now and the then, the when of the washing, the how of the change, the strange becoming familiar, the familiar strange, the range of the river, the depth, the width, the bid for salvation, for the saving, the grace, the face of the water, the mirror, the glass, to pass into something other, something new, the true baptism, the drowning, the birth, the earth and the water, the spirit and the dove, the love that might be waiting, might be there, the prayer that is the river that is the prayer. But the river runs, the river flows, the river knows what I don't know, sees what I don't see. The river's free. Take me down to the river Jordan, wash me clean, make me new. Take me down to the river Jordan. I don't know what else to do. I saw a man baptized last June, under the moon of the morning, the early light, the sight of him going under, coming up, the cup of the water running from his hair, the prayer on his face, the joy, the release, the peace that I ended, that I wanted, that I feared, the clear debt, the forgiven, the new start, the heart that I didn't have or had but hid, the kid that I was before the fall, the call that I ignored, the voice I drowned, the crown that I rejected, the throne, the rule, the fool that I became, that I am, that I'll be. The sea of the Jordan waiting, always waiting, the baiting of the water, the invitation, the door, the more that I could be, that I might be, that I should, the good that the water promises, the clean, the seen by the eye of the divine, the grace, the face turned toward me, not away, the day of the washing, the hour, the minute, the in it of the river, the flow, the stream, the dream, becoming real, becoming now, the how of the transformation, the mystery, the history of the water, of the people, the years, the tears washed away.